A thread by Brian Cates. I don't know who needs to hear this, but Antifa and Black Lives Matter started bringing guns to their riots weeks ago. They've been shooting at people for some time now in places like Utah, Georgia, Portland, and Dallas. Hell, they even shot each other in Colorado and Atlanta. The only thing different in the last week was in Kenosha, where armed citizens started showing up with their own guns. I strongly encouraged people not to do that. And so here we are. Kyle Rittenhouse ended up having to shoot 3 people, 2 of them fatally, in Kenosha, and a Trump supporter was summarily executed, murdered in Portland. 2 things that were 100% avoidable. So I'm going to say this again as clearly as I can. Do not seek these lunatics out. Do not travel to another state to place yourself in their path. Do not bring and display weapons when you place yourself where they can see you. They will attack you. You will die or kill. And now, a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I'm almost certain this was a small group of counter-protesters who successfully managed to get the far larger and very violent mob's attention. I don't think this went the way they anticipated, and it's just a big Antifa mob going after a very small group of counter-protesters, and they're chasing them, and it's horrifying. What was the expectation here? They'd be ignored. They'd take turns yelling at each other. As you can see, that's not how it went down. How many times do people have to watch this same kind of scene play out before it sinks in? Stay away from these lunatics. I will amend my earlier statement. You might not have to kill somebody, and you might not die. Instead, you might be allowed to very quickly walk away while the violent, angry mob follows after you, just as we see in the video. I mean, if this is your goal, you want to put yourself in the position Mr. Spartan and the US flag lady are, and they have to fast walk away from a large violent mob following after them, well, that's okay. It's a free country. You're going to make your own choices. I'm just saying, this is not smart. This is not going to go how certain people fantasize that it will. Reality is not interested in your fantasies. These people are violent, they are crazy, and in these blue cities, they will outnumber you. Chad Wolf, Secretary of DHS, just confirmed that DHS has been compiling records and data on these anarchist groups for months and are now sharing what they compiled with the DOJ and the Domestic Terrorism Task Force, led by several U.S. attorneys. Hold fast. Most of these patriots running around right now, trying to talk us into going into the streets with our rifles and handguns to seek out Antifa and BLM, use as their main talking point, we have to do this because Trump is doing nothing. This is a lie. A massive crackdown has been prepared for months to roll up the entire Antifa BLM networks. For several weeks now, the feds and local authorities working with them have been grabbing domestic terrorists who crossed state lines to commit their crimes. Portland Antifa in D.C. These are federal cases. The local Soros-funded district attorneys and mayors and governors can't do a thing to stop the coming crackdown. There will be simultaneous raids all over the country as those who organized, funded, communicated, and transported the domestic terrorism are arrested and indictments are unsealed. They made it blatant, and they started leaving paper trails all over the place, plane tickets, etc. You travel from one state to another to commit a pre-planned felony. Hey, that's a federal crime. And when you're doing it in concert with others to commit these federal felonies while crossing state lines, what's that called? It's called a federal criminal conspiracy. I fully understand. You have people out there pumping up your skepticism, saying that President Trump and Attorney General Barr were just blowing smoke up all our asses back in late May, early June, when they said the feds were going to start investigating, tracking down these anarchist groups. Don't lose your head. We have 60 days to the election. Trump's got this. Even the media's fake polls can't hide Biden and the Dems cratering and Trump and the GOP's growing base. A lot is happening before the election gets here. In case you missed it, here's Chad Wolf talking about the handoff DHS recently made to the DOJ about all the anarchist group records and evidence it's been collecting for the past few months. Yup, confirmed just now by Chad Wolf. So, when patriot accounts, and patriot in quotes, show up trying to tell you you're a coward for not traveling to a blue city in utter chaos right now due to the Democratic governors, mayors, district attorneys deliberately subverting the rule of law and, quote, showing patriotism by placing yourself in the path of a violent mob, tell them to shut the fuck up. The professionals will handle this. All you need to do is get you and about a dozen friends ready to vote in person on November 3rd. Addendum from Catherine Herridge, #protests2020 from DOJ spokesperson Carrie Kupek. We are investigating coordinated criminal activity, not First Amendment activity, and violence related to riots, destruction of federal property, and violence against law enforcement officers. There's a couple hundred more coming. And these won't be the street level crazies either.